So welcome to another episode of Coffee, Config and Chaos. I'm Jerry Wong.
I'm Andrew Robinson, and today we've got someone who's lived and breathed the ServiceNow journey in ways that most of us could only imagine, in Damien Davis.
My name's Damien Davis. I work at ServiceNow. I work in our customer excellence group. I know we're going to dive into a bit about that during the podcast. So I'm delighted to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for your time, Damien. And I think before we jump in, we want to just set the scene properly here. So, as you know, Damien Davis has mentioned, he's a senior director, customer excellence at ServiceNow, but he's also been part of the journey for over 13 years. So he's joined ServiceNow in the early days of the company, and you've grown from a technical support to shaping how ServiceNow delivers real customer outcomes across the world.
Well, here's the thing. Damien is more than just a title. He's a speaker, storyteller, and a mental health advocate. And let's be honest, a bit of an international man of mystery. At ServiceNow, he's known for popping in and out of global events and showing his sharp insights and then disappearing into the clouds.
And he's raised over £100,000 for mental health causes in honor of his brother Kieran. He's a jet setter, a gym goer, Spurs supporter, and someone who brings heart into everything he does.
So, grab hold on to your config, and welcome to the chaos.
So, Damien, you've had an incredible journey with ServiceNow, and if you were to describe that experience as a photo or a moment in your camera roll, what would it be and why?
So I'll get my iPhone out, scroll through my photos, and we kick off with what's kind of a humble brag. You can see in the background my Olympic torch. Like, if I was going to describe my ServiceNow journey as a photo from my camera roll, it would be me holding that Olympic torch back in London 2012, because that moment kind of captured everything, purpose, pride, momentum. And, it sounds like a cliche, right? But it really mirrors how I felt in my ServiceNow journey. Like, I've been entrusted with something powerful. I'm not just running for myself. I'm part of something much bigger. Look at our community and the ecosystem. So I feel like I'm lighting the way for others.
I want to jump in there. When you mentioned about the community, because me and Andrew are very much of the community
MVPs.
because we're MVPs. And we can feel, obviously I came through the Rising Star. So, obviously as a customer, came through the community and absolutely feeling that welcoming and everyone's kind of welcome and that support has been massive. So you're absolutely right. And in terms of what you said there.
Yeah, well, that's how I feel. And it's true. It sounds like it's a marketing cliche, but genuinely that's how I feel.
Yeah, exactly. And community is everything really in the service. Now, I've never known a friendlier bunch of people in like my entire career. So, David, in your ServiceNow career, was there a moment where everything just clicked, where you just thought, yeah, this is where I'm meant to be?
And you know what? Like, I've been very lucky in my nearly 14 years at the company. I've actually been to 10 of our knowledge conferences, which is like our flagship event. It's been at various cities, but quite often it's in Las Vegas. Now, my first Vegas experience was back in Knowledge 13 at the Aria. And I was with a customer, which will keep the customer's name anonymized because I haven't run this by their legal or their marketing team. But that customer actually turned around to me and said, "This is incredible. This isn't just software. This is about not just changing the way we work. It's about changing the way we feel about work." And that quote kind of resonated with me. And, to the degree where I actually thought, you know what? This is an amazing place to be. The company, the culture, the power of the software. And you may have seen some videos on YouTube of Fred Luddy, the founder, and he talks about this story about Phyllis and the order management system and about her starting to cry when he showed her what it could do. I think it's moments like that and my first knowledge in Vegas that make you think, you know what? I am definitely meant to be here. And a decade on, I still feel the same.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's nothing like a good conference, whether it be the Knowledge or World Forum, where you just realize some of the amazing things which ServiceNow now are doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I've been to two knowledge events so far, obviously in my career, obviously working on the ServiceNow product. And yeah, I mean, obviously the first, was it last year I went to? That was massive, but obviously this year I went to 2025. I was even bigger. and I'm sure it's going to expand a bit, more and more. So, whether Las Vegas or Phoenician will be able to hold that amount of people, I'm sure you guys are going to have to look for elsewhere to host.
Yeah.
So, Damien, what are you working on at the moment that's got you excited?
So at the moment, you mentioned earlier, so I'm in the customer excellence group at ServiceNow. So what I'm doing is helping, and I use the word help, I'm helping reinvent what customer success looks like, not just at ServiceNow, across the industry. And I do stress the word help because it is a colossal team effort, right? We have an incredible team. And it's only right I call out some of the amazing people in our customer excellence group, not just across my product and strategy team, but our amazing delivery experts, our impact squad members, hand on heart as well. Shout out to all the SAMs, the support account managers, right? Because we're not just supporting customers, we are actually becoming essential value creation. Again, marketing will love this, right? I'm using all the right words, right? But I think personally about the work that I do is shaping our voice and visibility in the market. I'm very visible on LinkedIn, on social media platforms, speaking at things like Knowledge, the World Forums, the Snugs, getting involved in community stuff like this. I'm way off being an MVP, but it genuinely, hands on heart, excites me because, look, I'm having fun. I've been on this journey since the early days, and now I actually feel like I'm getting to help to write the next chapter.
It's how can we get that value and, able to, again, for me as a product owner, I don't know everything. And that's where I'm going to, using the accelerators or going to my customer success manager to say, right, how can you support us with X, Y, Z, right? So
Jump in, Jerry. You say as a
yeah.
platform owner, you don't know everything. The
Mm.
honest truth is, and this is full transparency, is
Yeah.
we don't know everything. But we have such an amazing array of talent internally that we know someone that does, if that makes sense. So we have our
Yeah,
platform
of
architects,
course.
we have our impact squad members, we have access to product experts in our product management. We run these, access to expert sessions and advisory sessions. So, no one person, however talented or experienced, can know everything because the platforms become so big. But in the ecosystem across customers, partners, and ServiceNow experts, you only need to ask the right questions to the right person and you will find the answer you're looking for.
So Damien, what I want to do is I want to throw it back. So what was your most random? How did I get into this ServiceNow story moment? So like you just sat there and you just go, God, how did I get into this?
Yeah, pinch myself, right? Because look, I've been quite vocal again on socials about imposter syndrome. I have this fairly high profile role in the community, and sometimes it can be not just humbling, but it can almost be a bit embarrassing being lauded as this figure in the community. Whereas I've got a really unorthodox career backstory, right? I don't have a degree. I don't have an MBA. I started out as a junior individual contributor in our support organization, right? No 5-year plan, no blueprint. I think, I just kept saying yes because I'm enthusiastic and passionate. And one day, I'm writing knowledge-based articles. The next, I'm launching global products, right? And imposter syndrome, like pinch myself. I just feel like I've crept into the wrong room. And there's all these really, really clever people. There's these experts around me. Now, when I say I've snuck or crept into the wrong room, I do want to give myself a little bit of credit and say, once I'm in that room, I feel like I've earned my seat at the table, because I roll up my sleeves, show off my sleeve, and I just put my heart into everything. So my enthusiasm and my dedication is what's helped me navigate that anxiety of asking, how the hell did I get here? So sometimes I have to do a bit of self-recognition.
So in terms of imposter syndrome, you still say that you get that now. How would you say that you overcome that?
Because I think imposter syndrome can be seen as a strength, not a weakness. It's almost like just keeping you grounded. I've said about these the plaudits, and don't get me wrong. Come on, who doesn't love a bit of attention? Well, I certainly do, and I think I crave that human interaction. Like when I go to Knowledge or the World Forums or the Snugs, sometimes it feels like an extended family or like a big friendship reunion. Everyone's like, hey, Damien, there's hugs and high fives. And that's how I kind of overcome it. Like imposter syndrome just keeps me challenging myself constantly. So, don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. It's just about just reminding yourself, keep your feet on the ground. ServiceNow's one of our cultures is hungry but humble. So hungry with that ambition to be successful, but humble just to remember that, it takes a village, it takes a team effort. And, ultimately I'm always surrounded by so many amazing people that keeps me really grounded.
I love that, and that's a great way to think about things.
So what we call a bit of a jet set lifestyle. You're always on the move, but we want to know how you balance that pace with home life, and also your support of mental health causes. But you're still, finding that the time to hit the gym as well.
Yeah, well, look, firstly, there's only 24 hours in a day, right? So we've got to make the most of them. And I'm not one of these BS people saying, oh, I thrive on 2 hours sleep and I'm in the gym at 4 a.m. Because, people who do that are probably like CEOs with their own companies and private jets. But I do schedule ruthlessly, right? And I also know when to stop. So the gym isn't just about fitness. I've gone on this fitness journey. I'm halfway through. We're halfway through 2025, and I'm halfway through what I call my fitness journey. I still want to lose a little bit of weight. Mostly, I want to lose body fat. But it's not just about fitness and strength. It's about therapy. I'm actually in a little WhatsApp group with 4 other guys in my local gym, and we're not the Chippendales. We call ourselves the Blobbendales, right? But we have the most fun, the most banter. We also go for a full English once a month as well, just to keep ourselves grounded from the gym. We literally go and load up with hash browns and bacon. And then you spoke about the whole jet set thing. Look, travel gives me energy. And by that, it doesn't have to be on a plane. It could be on a train or, even walking. Just meeting people. That gives me energy. But then being back home with a family keeps me grounded. So it's about balance. At time of recording, I haven't flown anywhere for business for 2 weeks, which might seem odd by my standards, right? But that's meant I can walk the kids to school. I can go to my local deli bar and have a coffee and, even have lunch with a wife, right? So, the mental health thing isn't optional for me. Backstory. I made a promise to myself and to my brother, I guess I just live by this mantra, right? And again, this is a tagline that I'm going to coin. You don't just manage life, you design it. So live the life you want to design, or design the life you want to live.
I love that tagline, Damien. Yeah, and absolutely. It's you mentioned that we're here on Earth. We've only got one life. Let's make the most of it, but also we need to enjoy it and balance it with that right approach. So, but absolutely.
Now, leading back to the last question, so you've spoken openly about the loss of your brother Kieran. So how has that experience shaped the way that you lead, connect with others, and show up as a person in tech?
Yeah, look, let's be honest. It was pretty. I don't know. We're allowed to use the word crap, or do you edit that out and bleep it? But look, losing Kieran was pretty crap. Yeah, his death kind of broke me, like it would anybody. And I know all the people that have been impacted by suicide. I have spoken many times about the mental wounds and the healing and how it's maybe more human. And I want to put some context around that, because saying it makes me more human might sound weird. I find that as a leader, I lead differently now. I often find myself being more aware, situationally aware, and looking for sometimes the small, quiet struggles. And then I try and coach or listen harder. I definitely try to listen harder. And I'm not just chasing results or objectives and key results. I'm chasing meaning. And again, sometimes I hear myself say this and it just sounds like another cliche, but I'm genuinely like, I'm chasing something that means something. Like when I do the work, I want to see what that outcome means to the person, whether it's a customer or a partner or even an internal stakeholder. How does it make them feel when I've helped them achieve that business result, right? So, I'm also not afraid to talk about difficult subjects. I'm comfortable being vulnerable, comfortable being open, because I kind of feel like if I don't, then who else will? So if I do it, it almost normalizes it. And then hopefully everyone around me feels comfortable doing the same.
I was going to also say, Damien, that I think it is difficult when when there's a death in the family or relatives. It's sometimes difficult to talk about because I remember losing my dad. My dad passed away back in 2012, and it took me quite a while, many years, to try and reflect. And even after 9-10 years later, yeah, I kind of broke down having those conversations, because it's you tend to think, right, you need to stay strong for your family. And at the time when, obviously I had my mum and my sister, you had to stay strong for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, but at the
And
time where it's important to talk about it, isn't it, Damien?
it absolutely is. And immediately after losing my brother, the world went into lockdown for the COVID pandemic. It was that timing. His death by suicide was completely unrelated to the pandemic. However, the timing meant that we all went into lockdown. The focus on anxiety and mental health spiraled. Everyone was suddenly focused on it. And I was able to use that as an outlet. I was able to use Kieran's example and how it made me feel, as well as knowing that it was a very relevant topic, and talking about it made it easier for me. It keeps his memory alive. It made it easier for me to deal with my grief. And now 5 years later, I can actually just talk about it normally. I still get emotional and I get tearful, and people are like, hey, take a minute, take a breath, because we're all human, and people are very supportive. But actually, I'm talking about it quite comfortably now, and I can talk about it without getting too upset.
Of course, and Damien, thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that, and also, for the audience as well to hear that as well, so it can, inspire others as well to talk more about, this sort of subject. And we love asking this one. What's a failure that taught you more than success ever could?
A failure that taught me more than success. So
Yeah.
obviously, when you're perfect, there is no failure, right? But I'm not perfect. That was a cliche moment, and deliberately so. That's your little hook, and you can use that as a soundbite, right? No, look. If I'm truly open and hand on heart honest, right? I've had an amazing run at ServiceNow, and I did 6 years in customer support. I did nearly 7 years in product management as a global product management leader for what is now and has been for a while ServiceNow's flagship business, IT service management. During my time there, we grew it to $3 billion in revenue. I'm building this up, by the way. Get your drum roll out. And look, during my time at the helm, we had some leadership changes, senior leadership. Change happens, and my role evolved. And in fact, we totally evolved the structure of our product management and engineering teams. And looking back, and it's just over 12 months ago, sort of like just before Knowledge last year, I was trying to do everything. I was trying to do all the stuff I enjoy, the jet set, the end, the customer meetings, and because that engages me. But I was losing sight of some of the process stuff that actually keeps the business running. I was trying to control everything, every detail, every person, every outcome, right? And it backfired. People felt stifled. I felt burned out. Worse, my team felt burned out, and I let my product management team down. And it ended up being the catalyst for me leaving the ITSM business and seeking alternative opportunities. And I subsequently landed in customer success, where I've absolutely flourished and I'm loving every minute of it. But what's that taught me is that actually, just take a moment to realize what's important. I was focused on what I wanted to do, and that's honesty, right? And even now today, I'm doing what I want to do, but I make sure that I empower others to take care of the important stuff that needs to be done. Don't lose sight of it, because otherwise, things are going to go bad and people are going to get burned out again. So I think that's an example of where I failed, and it is a failure on my part, but it's actually taught me, better, approach and attitude on what I do today.
Yeah, no, thanks, Damien. Like you mentioned, when we talk about failure, everyone thinks failure is like a weakness. But I don't see it as a weakness, but see it as, you know, power that can help you. Like I said, right, I'm what's my next step, or where do I need to, is it involve, I'm evolving, or you're evolving as a person in your role. And I always think, things happen for a reason. And able to have that kind of positive outlook to be able to see, how you can grow in your career, but also as a person. And like you mentioned, that you inspire others as well.
Wow. And that's very humbling and nice to hear.
Yeah.
Now, it wouldn't be Coffee, Config and Chaos without a bit of a chaotic question. Now, to be fair, this is a bit of a nightmare for me, as I'm not a big fan of public speaking. However, I can see that you've done a lot of it. So can you tell me a time, has there ever been a time where you've been doing a public speech and it's just gone hilariously wrong?
Yeah, because I've done so many. And by the way, I love public speaking, and I'm like the person when someone says, "Hey, can you come and do this conference?" First thing I'm like, "Where's my calendar? Am I available?" But yeah, I've done a lot, and it's given me confidence. Actually, allowed me to grow, and I was very fortunate. I just want to touch on it quickly. ServiceNow invested in me to go and do exterior training. I actually had third party, company came in along with a few others who were on our executive briefing program. And I actually had some professional speaker training, and they teach you about body language, eye contact, pausing. One of the lessons I learned was about, if you've got a demo playing out in the background, just stop talking, let the audience watch the demo, and then you talk afterwards, so they're not competing with information. But hilarious failures. Can I give you 2 examples?
Yes.
Right. First one, I can't remember what year it was. I can look through my camera roll, right? But I was in South Africa doing a Future of Work roadshow. And I'm on stage. I tell you, it must have been around about 2018 because I was talking about the London release of ServiceNow and the launch of Virtual Agent. And I'm in this auditorium, and it's 2 tiers, and there's about somewhere between 200 and 300 people. So it's a fairly big size audience. And I'm on stage. There's this enormous TV, screen behind me, and it just goes blank. There's obviously some form of power cut, and there was like tech engineers scrambling along the stage on their knees trying to fix it. And I had to do a 25-minute keynote with nothing behind me, no comfort monitor, no speaker notes, nothing behind me. I might as well have done stand-up comedy, literally. And I'm on the stage doing my jazz hands, talking about Virtual Agent and London release. Luckily, I almost knew what I was talking about, so it resonated really well, and I got a standing ovation, right? And then one other example is Knowledge 23. So not last year's Knowledge that you were at, Jerry. The one before was my first speaker slot at Knowledge. And I think I said the word platform and the words AI about 27 times in a minute. And my brain short circuited, and even the audience started giggling. And I just said, right, enough platform, enough AI. I'm going to do the next half an hour without even mentioning those words. And I said, and if I even mention the word platform or AI, you can give me an electric shock. And the audience just went into rapturous laughter.
And do you know what? I think sometimes the audience respects you a bit more when you just open it and say, "Look, I'm just going to cut the platform and the AI." Because I know I've said it 20 odd times now. If I do say it, let's just give me a tap on the shoulder.
Right, we are going to a quick fire round, which we will call chaos mode activated.
Entering chaos mode.
If you're ready for it, Damien, I'll shout out some things, and the first thing that comes to mind. You ready?
Go on.
Coffee or tea?
Beer. No, coffee.
What's your favorite brand of coffee?
My local deli it's a coffee brand called Fire and Flow. They're a local roastery where I live in the Cotswolds.
Oh, nice. I'll probably, if I'm down in the Cotswolds, give that a try.
Come and see me.
Yeah. If not ServiceNow, what job would you be doing?
Running a travel blog and podcast, Jet Set Demo, take it full time on the road. Some sort of podcast, mental health, brand, board advisory in startups, utilizing my experience. That's not quick fire round. I'm giving you too long an answer.
That's all right. That's fine. Right. Next one, DC or Marvel?
Oh, 50-50, Batman or Iron Man? Marvel, Iron Man, all day.
Well, me too, Marvel. So what's one app you can't live without?
There's an app called Flighty, like the word flight with a Y on the end.
Mhm.
I use it to document all my historic flights, but actually I've got all of my flights that are booked logged into it. It's amazing. Literally, when I get my booking confirmation, I forward it to Flighty and it adds it into the app automatically. You get real-time information like delays, gate information. If your plane's coming inbound from another location, it even tells you when it's landed, what gate it's gone to. So yeah, it's been game-changing for my travel.
Oh, great. I haven't heard of that. And have you heard of that, Flighty?
I've never heard of Flighty before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give that a go.
Flight
Okay.
on me.
Oh, go on, Andrew. What were you going to say?
Sorry, I said it might be wasted on me. I only go out the country once a year.
I'll have to give it a check. Favorite video game?
I'm not really a gamer, right? So I'll give you a retro answer. GoldenEye on the N64.
Oh,
That's how long ago it's been since I played games. And maybe a side of Mario Kart as well.
Yeah, I mean, Mario Kart is just you just can't
But
get
my kids,
bored.
wait, just quickly, my kids play Mario Kart now on the Switch. It's
Yeah.
changed a lot in the last 30 years. Like the graphics are insane.
Favorite book?
I got loads behind me. Right, hang on. What the name of your podcast is? Coffee, Config, and Chaos, right? So I'm
Yeah.
going to give you chaos. Can I give you 3 books?
Go on then. We'll
So
let
I
you
grab
go.
them or just rattle them off?
Grab him. We
Right,
can
let's
put it
do
on
top
video.
3. 1, 2. Da, 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 da. So we go with Liz Wiseman. Here we go. Right, here we go. So top 3. Firstly, Go for Stupid by Steve D. Sims, right? It literally says the art of achieving ridiculous goals. That guy, amazing. God bless him. He recently passed away from cancer. But the book is incredible. It's about asking the right questions at the right time to achieve whatever you want to achieve, right? Secondly, Multipliers. Any manager, senior leader needs this book by Dr. Liz Wiseman. It's all about multiplying or amplifying people around you, whether they're your direct reports or they're your peers. It's about giving them space to grow and about, multiplying their achievements and their contributions. And then third one, shouldn't give this one to the boss, Never Split the Difference. It's about negotiation. It's by a guy called Chris Voss. He was FBI hostage negotiator. He then moved into the corporate world. He now delivers masterclasses on negotiation. But if you're buying a car, buying a house, or negotiating a pay rise, read that book, right? It's unbelievable.
Wow.
So there you go, my top 3 books.
Oh no, thanks for sharing, David. Yeah, I'm gonna give that a look over after we finish this. But yeah, good. Nando's or McDonald's?
It depends what time of day it is, right? Obviously, McDonald's breakfast, got to have the hash browns and a sausage and egg McMuffin. But in the evening, it's got to be Nando's extra hot, right? Surely there's no other answer.
No, that's yeah. I'm with you on that one. How about you, Andrew? You're a Nando's or McDonald's person?
Oh, Nando's through and through. I love spicy food.
Oh yeah. I can't do too spicy. I normally do more of like the what's the flavors that they like a mango and herb.
Like lemon and herb.
That's it, yeah, I'm one of those
That's
two.
not even on the hot scale. They've got like extra hot, medium hot, warm, and then they've got Jerry.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and then my wife does like the extra hot, which I can't even touch.
Brilliant.
Right, last one I've got is Now Assist or Chat GPT.
Hang on, you're talking to Mr. ServiceNow here, right? I've got to say, now Assist for work, Chat GPT for fun.
Cool. All right, Damien, thank you so much on that quick rant, and appreciate your honesty on those.
Okay, so before I wrap it up, we want to start a little tradition. It's called Brew It Forward. So this is your chance to give a shout out to somebody who in the ServiceNow ecosystem who has made a difference to you. So maybe they've inspired you, supported you, essentially just been an all-round good human being. So who do you want to brew it forward to?
Oh, good one. Right, I got my brew. I would like to brew it forwards to a good friend who may be known to you guys in the community. His name's Harry Nidger. Now, Harry doesn't work directly on the ServiceNow platform. However, he has his own media agency, Woodstock. It does content creation, has done filming. I've worked with him with many other ServiceNow partners, gone to different events. He's done filming, he does content creation, but he is building this amazing project, which you guys should definitely get him on the podcast to talk to him about. He has motivated and inspired me. He supported me by flying himself out to Stockholm to film me on an iPhone at a conference and then created some reels for Instagram, literally pretty much off the back of his own time, right? I'm not saying he does that for everybody, but Harry is amazing. He's probably one of the most quietly brilliant people that I know. He backs me without ego. He challenges me with heart, and he makes sure that we share in mutual success. So the kind of leader that I look up to, and I think he'd make an excellent guest on your show.
Thanks, Damien. That's amazing, and I'll definitely reach out to Harry because actually Harry lives in the same city as me.
Of course, he's at Warwick University. He's up near where you are at Coventry.
Yeah,
he's very close to you. You should get him in your home office.
We only literally took a walk near one of our local parks. So, but we'll make sure we'll get him in the episode. But yeah, he'll obviously be sitting in the guest seat soon. Hopefully, we'll reach out. But I think this is what's it all about: is that connection, that appreciation, and also that community feeling, right? So yeah, definitely we'll be reaching out to Harry on that. So thank you, Damien.
Oh, you bet. Look, guys, honestly, thank you so much for having me on the show. I've enjoyed the opportunity to answer your questions, and hopefully people listen to the podcast will find it interesting hearing what I've had to say.
Well, Damien, it's been a real privilege having you on the show. So we've covered everything from impact to chaos, and maybe uncovered a little mystery or two along the way, especially about that little hidden gem of your coffee shop as well. Next time I'm in the Cotswolds, I might pay you a visit.
You absolutely be welcome anytime. First coffee's on me, mate.
Oh, that's a good shout. We'll be down.
Yeah, there's gonna be a minibus outside, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like cinnamon swirls.
Oh, cinnamon swirls.
They do cinnamon swirls.
Oh, right, I'm there. Right.
Cool. So Damien, I want to say, thanks for sharing it with honesty and heart. But I think for anyone that's listening on the podcast, but if something that Damien has said that's landed with you, please share the episode, leave us a comment, and just want to keep that conversation going.
Yeah, and as always, real work, real learning, real people. That's coffee, config, and chaos. We will catch you next time.